Hi, welcome to Introduction to Nutrition with Miss Bucksbaum. This is the Blackboard screen, and this is where you'll be getting the information for the class. We start off with a home page. This has the basic outline of what's been coming recently. There's a new test, there's some welcome messages, and let's go one by one through the different categories within Blackboard. The first one is announcements. So we start off with a basic welcome and use of communications, and the new test one pops up when I have posted a new test. The next one is key. The syllabus has to do with looking at the course as it is through the entire semester, and the course content has to do with looking at the course week by week. So the syllabus is not just the syllabus, but it's also all the supporting materials that are used not just for 1 week, but for multiple weeks or sometimes the entire semester. So let's look at that link. We start off with a syllabus. You can open up this link to get the actual syllabus. I suggest printing it out. Next one is long-term projects. The first one is eating on a budget. This is only a 3-week project, so it's pretty short. 3-day diet analysis and trying new whole foods will extend for 10 of the 15 weeks. So these we'll be doing ongoing. We'll be doing a lot of sharing in the Zoom meetings, and we have a Blackboard discussion page that you'll be able to ask questions about and be able to share things with. The next one is informational resources that are a little bit tricky to get online that are nutrition specific. One is recommended websites that's used for multiple projects. And the next one is recommended nutritional supplement brands, which are also, this is the link down here, which is also connected to several assignments. The next one is sample calculations. The main one I've done so far is converting units for vitamins. There's been a change in using IUs versus milligrams or IUs versus micrograms for some of the nutrients. And so this is a chart that will help you to do that. And then as we go on to the semester, I may add some more if you have a need for those things. The next one is just general Montgomery College support and our textbook and basic ideas about communication. We're going to have communication in 3 levels. Course communication is just between you and me. You have a question just for me, the instructor. We can have a email communication through course mail that you'll see on the upper left-hand menu. The next one is discussion boards. This is when you want your information shared with the entire class, either because you want input from your classmates, or whether you want it from me and simply have it shared, the answer shared with the classmates. A lot of times questions are general, and so it's good to put them on the discussion board so that we can all hear the answer. The first kind of discussion board are just simply question and answer, general questions so that we all get the value from it. The next one is what I call the do discussion board. Do refers to work that you get points for. Credit. And these are something that I open every week for you. And that's weekly, one discussion board after the next, and you get 10 points each week for doing that. Next one is I'm going to be organizing GroupMe.com. It's it's kind of like texting, but without the students having to share their personal information like their email address or their telephone number. So there it's set up with that invisible, but it functions like texting. So you can all communicate with each other as students and get a lot of benefit from that. So remember, that is all from the syllabus and supporting materials. That's looking at the overall class. The next one is course content week by week. You can see it's color coded. The first one's simply overall overview of the semester and introduction. The next one you can see are black, class 1, 2, 3, etc., all the way to class number 15, which is the final exam. Next, color coded is green. These are the long-term assignments. So you can go into these long-term assignments and you can see some more information and about how to get into them and have your questions answered, most of them. So let's go up to the very top and look at the overview of the semester. The first one is a weekly structure. I want to simplify it as much as possible, so I've simplified it to learn, do, connect, and long-term assignments. Learn, do, connect. This is where we get our information from. Textbook, PowerPoints, and a few other things depending on what week it is. Do is what you do for credit, 4 points. This is what you get graded on. And Connect is our Zoom class. It's a mandatory class. We gather together every Wednesday night, and long-term assignments are what we've talked about before that span more than 1 week. And this is looking at it kind of week by week. Week number 1, you'll have something to learn, something to do, ways to connect, and that will be filled out more in the week by week learning modules underneath course content. So now the second one in the overall thing is the introduction to the course. You need information about the textbook, about meetings, about how we get class information. First one is static, the initial syllabus that is created at the beginning of the year. The second one is Blackboard. That is something that's a constantly evolving document and communication. So that's where all the new things will come up. Like, for example, when something is new, I'll make a Blackboard announcement, and you'll be able to make adjustments to what might have been initially written in the syllabus. Discussion board. The first discussion board, by the way, for this week number 1 is an introduction. That's going to help to teach you how to use a discussion board, although we're going to use it slightly differently. When you get into week 1 discussion board, you will open a new thread, and that thread will have your name as the subject. Your name is the title. And then you're going to tell us about yourself. And in addition to what makes you you, I want you to try to connect it to this class, to the idea of food and nutrition, your relationship with food, your cultural food traditions, the parts of your lifestyle which are significant to your physical health, meaning diet, exercise, and things like that. And there are a few just things that might trigger some ideas for you to write about. And the ideas of learn, do, connect, learn is what you review, what you have access to information wise. Do is what you get graded on, and connect is our weekly meeting. And this just describes how we do it as a weekly structure, and showing again the chart, the graph in which you can get that information. And go back to communication and my introduction. Hello. So we can have, I put a written introduction, but I also have a video introduction as well. So let's go back up and see what else is on that left-hand menu. We have, we just went through syllabus, course content, and then there are 2 items here that we're capable of putting out the entire semester's worth right on one page. This with a discussion board, you can do that. So basic questions and answers, eating on a budget, trying new health foods, 3-day diet. These are the long-term assignments, not to be submitted here. You're not putting your final work on the discussion board. What you're doing is asking questions. You work, and you think you have something, and you scratch your head and you don't know. So you ask the whole group so everyone can benefit from the answer. And in week number 1, note that all the weeks are live. So you could get ahead in this particular category. You can see that the weeks are all the way up to the end, week number 14, for the discussion board. As I noted, the first discussion board is different because you will be creating a new thread with your name and introduction. Week number 2 is similar to all the other weeks. So there are discussion rules. In these other weeks, you do not make a new thread. You will be responding to one of the threads which I have already created, which is a question or an inquiry. You'll make an initial post, which is longer, at least 250 words, but you are welcome to go far more than that. You're going to respond to one of the given questions. Note that some weeks there are 8 questions or 10 questions. You're not responding to all of them, just one. And then you're going to respond to your classmates so that we can engage in a dialogue. It's both casual, but it needs to have some content. It can't just be what you would have written if you haven't been researching and studying and trying to make connections in an academic college class. So it can be casual, but it must have some content. I'm not going to grade for punctuation or grammar. This is not an English class, but I am going to grade for content. You have to have something that is not obvious, that you have come to through academic rigor. Be kind. You know, we are teaching each other. We do not teach and learn best by attacking each other. No, no swearing. Just be kind. Be clear. No LOL or other just shortcuts and fillers and unclear, which are unclear ways of talking. And be succinct. If your post can be said in 3 sentences, and say it in 3 sentences, and then just simply have another aspect that you can expand it out into. And let's take a look at one of the more posted weeks. Let's look at number 4. Note that there's thread after thread after thread. You're going to respond to one. Each of these weeks will always have the possibility of simply a reflection on the chapter that you read. This means chapter 4, meaning the textbook. And you're just going to respond to the chapter like, oh, eureka, I was reading the textbook and it said this. And so I went on the internet and I found these other connections. I went on the internet. I talked to my grandmother who has cooked in a traditional way. And I found these connections. And you're going to respond to something that you've read in the textbook as a reflection. Now, all these others are, or you'd pick one of the others. Like this one, you would actually listen to a video and then respond to it. This one is looking at the glycemic index and glycemic load. I try to put a abbreviation of the entire question here, but then sometimes when you open it, you'll find more information. Fiber, lactose, and a riddle. Obviously, that needs to have more. Let's open that up. The riddle is lactose is a milk sugar. When milk is made so that it's lactose free, meaning it has no milk sugar, why does it taste sweeter than regular milk? And no added sweetener is added. So after you answer the riddle, you have to investigate some issues of lactose or lactose intolerance and give me 250 words at least. And then you reply and you have space here to give your to submit things. So let's go to the next thing is we have a week's worth of Zoom. Leave page. We have a week's worth of Zoom. Notice that most people who I've spoken with, it doesn't go there directly. You have to say, please click here. And so when you click there, you're going to see every week out for the entire semester, one after the next. But this, in contrast to the other one, you obviously can't work ahead. We are meeting at these specific times together. So let's move on to the rest of the left-hand menu. Then you have the course mail. So this is how we communicate. So far, we haven't communicated yet to each other. We have the textbook. This is some information about the textbook, and we'll talk more about how to get it. And my grades. In my grades, we have the discussion board, which is graded. We have the assignments, which are graded, the quizzes, and the long-term assignments. And these will all be found under my grades. After that, these 1, 2, 3 are more general information about MC as opposed to specifically this class. So this is where you're going to get the information. And welcome to Introduction to Nutrition with Amanda Bucksbaum. See you in the Zoom meeting.